Hello and welcome to the Last Standee, a board game podcast coming to you from three exciting countries across Europe. So, I'm joined here today by Audrey,
Hi everyone!
by Fen,
Hello.
and I will be your host, Alexei. Audrey today will discuss the game Nekojima, while Fen will talk to us about Arkham Horror and the Alien RPG, and I will introduce the TTRPG Triangle Agency. But first, we're going to see how everyone is doing in the Standee catch-up. So how is everyone doing? It's been quite a while on my end.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been quite a while on all our ends. I think it's. I got had the biannual, maybe annual FenCon, which is when my role playing and board gaming group comes over here. Because I mean,
Great.
Scotland's a lot nicer than any part of the UK. So, yeah, and we played a bunch of games over not quite 2 weeks, but a fair amount. So I got lots of things to talk about, but I thought I'd start by talking about the 2 role-playing games that we played. Outside of that, I am finally I'm taking a break from painting that like chore that is the Kingdom Death plastic board.
I can imagine. That must take ages.
I first of all said I wouldn't paint it, and then we played with it for a bit. I was like, I will paint it, because I'm gonna have it for like forever, and why have an unpainted version? But I will say, like, I paid. I think it's $50 for it. Was the price I paid when it was like first pitched. It's okay for $50. And I think if you've got a lot of money spare kicking around and the time and inclination to paint it or get it painted to a high standard, it's worth it. But at the current price, it's it's a big ask. So it's a high quality product, but it's definitely like not for everyone at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
You need the space to have it set up regularly because moving it is a pain.
Yeah. When I kept the box is actually really good for storing it. It's perfect. You don't want to throw that box away, which is a change compared to most of the the brown cardboard boxes. But you do need, if you're going to paint it, you need to like set up layering to hold each tray separately because they stack on top of each other. However, I've just put that box into storage because I realised I keep the trays sitting on my miniatures cabinet with the models on top of when I'm not playing Kingdom Death, which at the moment I'm not because Aeon Trespass has taken over the table and probably will do for a few months because that's a lot. So I've got I can remember the proper name of the start of it, but the Icanton Harpy from the third cycle's on my painting desk right now, and it's actually really, really nice model. Now I've properly taken some time to look at it. I mean, I knew it was a nice model, but I don't know if you get this, Audrey. Some miniatures just don't speak to me, and so I have a horrible time painting them. Oh, hello.
which one did you say it's about?
The Harpy. It's the third cycle. The Icarian Harpy, as in Icarus.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah, I think I see like from afar because I haven't digged too much into my box.
yeah. Yeah. It's like a harpy with some heavy sort of tentacled elements to it. It's got a very it's an interesting pose. It's kind of I don't know how to properly describe it, but people listening can Google it up and see. I've just put an image of it in there. It's I think it's one of like in the first three cycles in the main box. I think it might now be my favourite model, or very close to it.
It is quite a good model.
Yeah, it's really unique looking. It's an fantastic take on a harpy.
That's
Yeah.
the one, yeah.
Yeah. So that's I've literally been started painting that yesterday. I was painting just before we talked. Yeah, beyond that, I'm not going to carry on lionising all the time because I will have plenty to talk about in future recordings as well. We played so many games, so many. Game of Thrones, which is as good as ever. Sidereal
Looking forward
Confluence,
to
which is a
hear about
tradition.
all of those.
Yeah, Fort. I think I've talked about Fort before.
Yes,
Yeah,
you have.
yeah. We played that again. That was great. Got to play Fleet, the dice game, which I've talked about before. It's
Oh, Fleet is amazing. I picked it up after you talked about it.
Yeah.
It's such a fun game.
I play it multiple times a week on the app. The app's got a bunch of issues I'm not going to get into, but I just really like playing the game a lot. It's very, very nicely balanced, but it's better with the expansion for sure. But anyway, how about you, Audrey?
On my front, it's been I don't remember how long ago that was I was in the podcast, but yeah, I've been having 6, maybe a little bit more, very difficult months in my professional life. So the, let's say, overall mood um, has been affected by that. So it's been very difficult overall to do stuff and even enjoy things. Um, and let's say that in any case, I'm opening up a little bit on mental health right now, but I've been talking about that here and there a little bit. But yeah, my mental health has always been suffering, uh, as far as I can remember. Um, but I have not yet, let's say, found a professional that would even just take into account what I was saying. So that turned me off a little bit, but I'm going to try again very soon. So please cross the fingers, those that pray, pray, those that hope, hope for me, please, because I need it. Um, anyway, for board games, my husband and I bought Frosthaven.
Oh, great.
We did so far, I think 10, 9, something like that scenarios. And we do plan to do another one after we end this recording. And honestly, it's pretty fun. The classes, I don't enjoy them too much because I think they all have, let's say, some more complexity or finicky than in Gloomhaven, which yeah, I would like one or two classes to be a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Which classes have you tried?
I tried the mage with the shades.
Is that the
starting
not
one.
the necromancer?
The starting one. The one which places shades and she can teleport them and move them. It may not be shades in English. Shadows. Dark-ish tokens. I didn't like it. I have the basic Inox Warrior, which I do like this one. I do enjoy this one, but yeah, it's we play with 3 characters. So my husband plays a character and handles the monsters, and I play 2 characters and I handle the books and scenarios. And we did not try this setup for Gloomhaven, and I think it's very good. For 2 players,
Yeah.
I think it's very good like that.
Yeah. I found like I digitally play Gloomhaven with a couple of my old gaming group back from the UK, and 3 characters just seems to be about the right spot for the way the game mechanics work. 2, because I played 2 with my partner, and we found you're always sort of lacking in something, even though the game's meant to be balanced for any number of characters. It just feels like, well, ideally you want someone who's able to deal good damage, someone who can soak damage, and then someone who can sort of either play between them or do some other kind of support. So yeah, I could think 3 would be really the right spot, especially splitting up the jobs.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
we played
very good.
we played the Necromancer, what's her name, Bone
My
Shaper,
my my
and the
husband plays the necromancer, so he has
yeah,
all of his pets running around.
yeah,
I tried the Vermling assassin, or I don't remember the exact name, who plays fast and slow. I didn't really like that.
yeah,
Um, I felt that most of the cards don't feel useful. Just like they don't
yeah.
feel useful. The ice dancer something.
Hmm.
Not bad, but like you can do so many different things and be shit at all of them, whichever one you select.
Yeah. What we ended up doing, and it's something I do in like all of them now, is I work out a script for playing. So basically, almost every card in the entire Gloomhaven and Frosthaven series tends to have one side that you're going to use all the time, and the other side you either only use it near the end, or you just don't use it at all. And so after like doing a fair bit of research, I was like, you know what's easiest for me? I just work out the order I'm playing my cards in throughout the whole like first pass through the all the cards, and it's just made my life so much easier with the Frosthaven characters and their extra complexity, because I'm just like, okay, this is my move card, this is my damage card, and this is boom boom boom. But it was a lot of work setting it up. Main thing is to say I totally get it. Like, man, some of the characters are. I wouldn't recommend Frosthaven to someone who hasn't played a lot of Gloomhaven, because it's a hefty lift.
Yeah, I tried the Trapper one. Nah. No, I didn't even try. I just read the cards and was like,
Yep.
ah,
I started with the one that changes forms,
yeah,
has like two
Gemini.
miniatures. Yeah. Ugh, really didn't get on with that at all. I ended up for the most of the early part playing the one with the banners and the which was just a straightforward tanking character the way I played it. A few summons, bit of support, and we let the Bone Shaper do most of the damage dealing.
Yep, it looks straightforward, but then many of your skills I felt are dependent on where the allies are
Yeah,
placed. So I don't remember which second character I think I got back to the Ice Dancer, and now we are waiting on our next unlock to see what we can progress with.
yeah. I was a lot happier once I'd unlocked a couple of the later characters for sure.
Yeah. And then there is a big video game front for me lately. So I'm currently in a World of Warcraft break after reaching my goals for the seasons. And I played the last Doom in I think it released the Wednesday and it was done the Sunday. It's good, but it's not as good as Eternal, which is like for now my top one.
Yeah. Have you played through the DLC for Eternal as well?
No, I did not play any DLC because
Seriously, yeah. If you enjoyed Eternal, the DLC for Eternal is amazing. It
I,
is.
f- I think I did try a little bit, and I ended up at a point where you had to follow some kind of greeny wolfy shadow, getting you from small arena to small arena, and I hated that part, and I stopped there.
That's
Uh,
fair.
And yeah, the only thing I did not like in Eternal was the Marauders, with that fucking green light. Sorry, and they just took that in Dark Ages and put that everywhere. Even if the shield is very cool, all of this, yeah, there is something green coming, so I have to do something in reaction all the time. It was taking me off a little bit. Yeah, and for the last few days, I've been living my best life in fantasy life. I because yeah, why not go from Doom to Animal Crossing meets The Sims, meet D&D or any RPG that you like?
Yeah, I've played one of the older My Fantasy Lives on the DS.
Yeah, I
Had a
played it
grand
as well.
time with it. Yeah. I'm not touching the new one. I've already got my Animal Crossing. Like I play Dinkum, I do, which is
Oh yeah,
yep.
think it's fun.
Freaking love Dinkum. And keep developing it and everything. They're going to be putting achievements on soon, which I'm excited about. But yeah.
So Yeah, I think that's. Oh yeah, one last thing. My husband did play Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 in French.
Mm-hmm.
I do plan to play it as well because my husband has the Game Pass. It's on the Game Pass. I'm going to
Yeah.
just like I can play whenever I want. So I don't know when that's going to be, but I do plan to play it. So if at any point any of you did play it and wants to talk about it, please take care
Oh,
of spoilers. Thank you.
no. I think with Claire Obscura, the most important thing is you just don't talk about the plot to anyone because it's just something that's better for people to experience fresh. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. My partner's played through it. I am very aware of what happens in it all. No chance I'm ever going to talk about spoilers for it.
Amazing. And to end that, I will say putain like in that game because I love how they inserted French slang like all the time. I just love that. So yeah, that was a lot for me, but that was I think needed to talk about that. And so Alexis, you've been as well missing for a while, so I hope you have so much stuff to talk about.
Well, yeah, I've been missing for a while because of some issues at work. Unfortunately, I found myself unemployed again, so I've been looking for a new job in the meantime. But I've mostly just kept my affairs going, making sure that everyone was okay at home. On term of board games, I've recently been playing a lot of Sky Teams that Alessio talked about a while back now. But it's a really good co-op game, I find. I think that once you get into the general gist of it, it's a great game that is really fun to play with someone else. So me and my girlfriend have been enjoying it quite a lot. I've unfortunately had to put my Iron Trespass campaign onto the side. I'd like to get back onto it, but currently the main table that we play big board games on is busy with some Lego construction, so that's going to take us a little while to get
Which
through
Lego?
it. The Taj Mahal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And recently I've been just playing a lot of Night Train, which is a very strange game because it takes off everything that I like about From Software games in general, but it still ends up being a really fun game to play with friends, even if you don't have the lore, the good world design, the good level design, the fun, slow-paced combat where you get to learn enemies and try stuff. Here it's kind of an extremely fast-paced multiplayer game, but for some reason, through dark magic, it works well. I think it's mostly playing with friends that makes it livable. Though. If you
I
played
played
solo,
solo. I played solo.
You played
I played
solo.
solo. Yeah, I will probably play it with friends once they all catch up and get it. But I picked it up ahead of everyone else, and I've been running it solo, and I've had a grand time. It's very different to playing multiplayer. You can't. You got to be more selective with what you're fighting and kill more trash mobs.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
imagine.
it was miserable before they patched and updated it, but they've made it a lot better now. It's still there's about 3 or 4 characters that are good to play solo, and some of the others sort of struggle a bit. Like Iron Eye is easily the best solo character.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mind
But
repeating the name of the game?
Sorry?
Do you mind repeating the name of the game?
Oh, Night Train.
Elden Ring,
the
Night Rain.
Elden Ring.
Night Train,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically for those that haven't heard of it, it's
Fortnite Elden Ring.
Yeah.
But
Fortnite Elden
co-op.
Ring.
Yeah.
But co-op.
Yeah.
You play through the map, you beat bosses, and every time that you beat bosses, you level up, you gain some new weapons, and the goal is to get enough levels to then challenge the end boss by the end of the timer, which usually a game takes about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
40 to 50 minutes.
Yeah, you've got the classic shrinking ring that forces you into a tighter and tighter space until it's time for a given night boss. So you're sort of running around trying to get the right places and get leveled up before
I'm
Uh,
surprised my husband have not spoken to me about this game.
mm,
Maybe he
it's
doesn't know it exists.
It's
it's a really enjoyable game loop, and Elden Ring's combat is pretty good. It's not
yeah,
Monster
it
Hunter
works well.
combat, you know. They got their problems with their hitboxes in Elden Ring.
The targeting,
Yeah,
especially, I find is has quite a lot of issues. It feels kind of different from the base Elden
it
Ring. They
does.
switch some stuff to make some weapons more viable in the extremely frantic pace of the game
Yep,
because you have to be constantly running because you are usually running behind the clock.
yep.
So
And they added that added
um,
terrain traversal and mantling, and it's kind of works, and sometimes it really doesn't.
yeah, it the whole game feels like a really good mod for Elden Ring rather than its own
Well,
game,
I mean,
which is strange.
you know you know the it's not Miyazaki who's like built it. Yeah, yeah. For people listening, Miyazaki is like usually the lead developer on the Dark Souls and other FromSoft games like this, like Bloodborne, etc. This one is like they've taken the Elden Ring assets and reused them and handed it all to some newer players to newer designers, sorry, to put it together. So
I'm an
I think
idiot.
it's cool. I think it's very cool to reuse the assets and reuse the world and tell a little bit. I think it's a story being told of maybe before Elden Ring. It's kind of what I'm gathering. Um, the way they've done the characters is great. Instead of customizing characters, you play from a bunch of preset sort of classes who all kind of have their own stories and personalities and everything. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they have their own thing, and they have all a very different play style, which is quite entertaining because that's I think that's the thing that I like the most
Yeah.
about the game is that it forces you to play a bunch of very different play style, very different, using a lot of different weapons
Mm-hmm.
that you would never use in your run of Elden Ring, where you usually land on one play style that works for you and you keep that going for your most of your run. Maybe you play another character, but here you kind of have to play with every different aspect of Elden Ring, using magic, using faith, using a flail weapon, or learning to use shield. And because Elden Ring has such a varied play
Mm-hmm.
space, it's actually really enjoyable
Yep.
if you enjoy the Elden Ring base game.
Yeah.
And I'm an
I,
idiot because I actually saw ads about it. So, but because you said Night Train and not Elden Ring Night Train, my brain did not connect the dots when I see triplets. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Ah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I've
Uh,
had, sort of had a grand time playing solo. I would like to play more, but I don't want to play with randos, so I'm just chilling and waiting.
well, maybe I'll hit you up the next time that I launch a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
All right. Yeah. So, with that out of the way and everyone having catched up a little bit, let's start on one of our subjects. Does anyone wants to start?
I
Meow.
can take this. No, here we are. We've had a meow.
Yeah. Go for it, Audrey.
Yes, so I'm going to talk about Nekojima, which is more of an address agility game than an actual board game, um, which was gifted to my husband for his last birthday, which is how I got to know about the game. So Nekojima comes in a very cute box, decorated in a quite semi-cartoonish and semi-stylized way with bright colors, and the components are very simple. You have a board which is round with four quarters, each has a specific color, um, two dice, a bag with wooden cubes, a few cats that come in a punch board, so they're cardboard cats. And you have all of these wood pieces, which are two cylinders linked by a little rope. The rope can be white, turquoise, or let's say reddish. And uh, the idea is going to be to pile up the wood cylinders on top of each other, depending on where the dice ask to put them, and do not make it everything fall. Keep everything standing. That's the basic idea of the game. And so we've been playing a little bit, the two of us. My parents visited a few weeks ago and we played with my parents because, of course, whenever I have a game that is simple in the way that it works, I try to show it to my parents and say, you see, it's a modern board game, but it's not complicated. You can learn the rules quite fast. You can learn to play quite fast. And yeah, and they were pretty happy with it. So, the wood cylinders that you can find linked by the ropes have different heights. Some of them are quite high, around maybe 10 centimeters. Some of them can be shorter, maybe around 3-4 centimeters. Um, and the ropes are linked to the length, the colors of the rope. I think the white is the longest, then it's the turquoise and the red being the shortest one. And so the way things play is a player picks the two dice and tosses them. Each dice indicates a color. That's the colored places of the board that you should put your wood cylinders. Of course, always up. So if someone has violet and orange, they have to put one of their cylinders in violet, one of them in orange. And after having the dice done, or before, this is not very important, they pick a wooden cube in the bag, and that wooden cube can be either white, turquoise, red, or black. So if the cube is white, turquoise, or red, of course that says this is the color of rope that you pick your cylinders from. And if you have a black, it means that you actually give someone a cat. And then they will have to put the cat somewhere around when they put their next cylinders tied by the rope.
Right, so the cats are like a bit awkward to deal with then, are they?
Uh, let's say not too much. Some of them have weird shapes and are a little bit difficult to place because when you have the cat, generally they all have something that has a curved shape, and so you have to put them on the ropes. And the different rules for placement are that you can put a cylinder on top of a cylinder, that's not a problem. The ropes cannot touch. You cannot turn a cylinder on itself to, let's say, twirl the rope around. And a cat can only touch one rope. If the cat touches a second rope, of course that's electrocution, so you lose.
Well, of
If,
course.
of
You know,
course.
I'm not a cat fan, but I'm firmly against electrocuting cats, so definitely that should be a lost condition.
Yes, and of course, when you play something and everything falls, you lose as well. Um, so that's the basic principle of the game. When we played at two players with my husband the first time, I think we did place all of the cylinders and then looked at each other and were like, "Well, that's a tie." I think my dad lost when we played. And I think that it's a little bit more fun if you have more than two players, because with two players, especially if you know each other, you will have an idea of what to expect the other player to do, and you can also think a little bit strategically, because when you have a cylinder to place, you can put it at one zone of the quarter that's indicated of the board that's indicated by the dice, or another one, and you can make things more difficult or simpler, or you can, let's say, manage a little bit the difficulty for the other players. So I think that the more players means basically the more chaos, and so it can turn a little bit more funny with more players. And there are also tons of variation of rules. Like some of them you have tokens of bird's nest, and you add them on top of the cylinder. I did not check the rules on that, but maybe after you have piled three wood cylinders, and no pile can be higher than, I think it's two or three cylinders. And so that one makes you rethink of it. There is also a cooperative variant, things like that. So yeah, it's a quick game. Um, yes, it's not technically a board game. There is no like
Ah,
big
ah, ah, ah.
strategy.
I'm gonna. No, it's a board game. It's absolutely.
It
A
has
board
a
game.
board. It has
It's
a
a board
board.
game. It's got. So I hoped I wouldn't be here for when you talked about this. Not because I don't want to hear you talk about it, because of the opposite. Because dexterity games are like my number two jam after like Galaxy Trucker, which is technically kind of dexterity-ish. It's about speed. I love them. I've got like Men at Work, Pitch Car, a Meeple Circus, and I have a sinking feeling I'm about to pick up another one because these are like when all the family come to visit on the island. They're like more casual board gamers, and these dexterity games are a massive hit. So,
Yeah.
how many people does this one go up to?
I think it's 4 or 5.
Okay,
I am on the Board Game Geek page. It's 5 players.
5 is excellent, yeah. Because Men at Work's a little tricky because at 4 players we tend to have to like play in pairs because it's quite a number of people. 5 will usually have like a couple play with the younger players, like help them pass the pieces and everything. I mean, let's face it, the kids generally win because it's a lot easier with smaller hands.
Since we are slightly off topic, I'm going to ask Audrey, how does it play with 2 players?
With 2 players, if you don't play in co-op, it's just same.
Okay.
And it's, in my opinion, it's not like extremely interesting for 2 players.
All right.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Like for Meeple Circus, Men at Work, Pitch Car, they all don't feel so great with 2 players. There's a bit not quite enough chaos, I think, for me.
Yeah. But yeah, I should not have said that it may not be a board game, but like it's not a board game in the traditional sense of what you'd expect. But I think it's fun. I think it works out. I did not check the price because it was a gift, you see.
They tend to be a bit more expensive, but that's fine because you're buying like usually the actual pieces to play with, not just cardboard chips and dice.
Yeah, and you have like a few bags, plastic bags in the box, so you can put all of your turquoise linked wood cylinders in one, all of the red linked ones in another one, and so it's very easy to organize the box. So yeah, I think it's fun enough. It can be smarter than it looks at moments, honestly. But I think it's easy to reach that point, when you get at beyond 2 players, because that's when you can have people that will just think something that you did not expect, or that will have an idea 2 turns before, and that will do it when it's their turn, and something has changed, etc., etc. So yeah, overall, it's in my opinion a solid dexterity game. Which tends to be played with more than 2 players, and I think we should try some of the variants at a point. If you want, you can have some kind of high score, because whenever you draw a wooden cube, a colored wooden cube, you have a little tracker to put it into, and I think you put 4 or 5 cubes in a level, and so you can say, oh, we lost at level 5, we lost at level 6, and you can make a little bit of a kind of high score if you want.
Yeah, I am. As I said, I think I'm unfortunately very tempted by this now because not only is it a dexterity game, this is not like any of the dexterity games I have already. Yeah, this is different, which makes it interesting because it's always fun to balance things on top of other things, especially if they're different to previous ones. Like Junk Art, I really like. That literally has you balancing stuff on top. But these ropes and hanging the cats off them is it's a spin that's got me intrigued.
Yeah, and it's really so simple to explain. I think that's also one of the big advantages of this game. Yeah, really 5 minutes and you're there.
Yeah, that's great. It seems like a great sort of warm-up game or a cool-down game,
Yeah.
Bit of fun, a laugh. Could even play a couple of times.
Yeah. It's easy to do 2 or 3 games in a row because it's so fast to play. Yeah, but next time you visit to play Kingdom Death Black Knight, maybe we can have a game of Nekojima in between because that's so fast and easy to set up.
I would be very happy to try that. Yeah.
Yep. So I think
All
that's it
right.
for me. And Nekojima.
uh, would you like to go then?
Yeah, okay. All right. So, role playing games, which I don't think that's something people particularly associate with me. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say not first time.
So, I've played role playing games since I was 12. I played role playing games before anything else. I am at heart and before anything else a role player. Part of the reason why I'm terrible at sticking with rules is I'm also a GM, and when you GM, quite often story trumps mechanics ultimately.
Yes, I fully agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while there's some games I'll be like, I'm not going to fudge the dice rolls, I'm going to make them public, I'm going to make them open. There are situations where I might pivot on a situation because it's better for the story and better for the players. So when the guys roll over, I was like, I got a couple of starter scenario things I'd like to go through and play those to get a bit of an idea if we want to play them digitally as well, because there's a lot of extra work for me digitally. I usually have to put tables together or pay extra to get access to them, so it was nice to just sit down and play in physical. And the first one is Arkham Horror, the role-playing game, which we play Call of Cthulhu. It's one of those games I've run for years. It's my third longest standing system that I'm familiar with. The first system I learnt was Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, which is why I like Call of Cthulhu, because Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is based off Call of Cthulhu, inspired by. And then 7th Sea, which I absolutely adore, the setting in particular, but love swashbuckling. So I wanted to see what a role-playing game in the Arkham Files universe was going to be like. So that's Fantasy Flight's version of the Cthulhu mythos. It's more pulpy, it's, more sort of gumshoe kind of noir and silliness than Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu is very much like a Shoggoth's turned up, run. And if you can't run fast enough, trip someone over, so the Shoggoth gets busy eating them so you can escape. Pick whoever you like the least. Whereas Arkham Horror is like a Shoggoth's turned up, let's shoot it and punch it.
Yeah,
So-
that's for me.
Yeah. You can get
That's
pulp.
a very different mood.
Yeah, it is. You can get pulp Call of Cthulhu. I've been running the Complete Masks and the Halotep in pulp, but it's still really lethal and dangerous. And when they get in fights, they are the group is down and nursing injuries, not just for days but weeks. In that game,
Well, Tabletop is especially a player grinder sometimes. So.
Yeah. We've lost a few characters. Amazingly, still have several members from the very starting Peru expedition alive, but yeah, it has been a bit of turnover. Anyway, so when I saw that Arkham Files are having a role-playing game and it's been done by Edge, I was like, okay, I need to give this a look. So I picked up the starter pack and 2 of the extra books, the core rule book and then a book of scenarios, and I ran Hunger in Abyss for the guys. Hunger in Abyss is based on the scenarios in the core box of Arkham Horror, the living card game. I don't know if either of you played those ones. Are you familiar with them?
I have not played that one. I've played some of the ones from the core box, but the Hunger in Abyss.
Well, the Hunger in Abyss
not...
is the name of all 3 of them. So it's the story starts off
okay.
in in one of the investigators' house, and then goes to the streets of Arkham, and then ends up with you fighting against Udamoth, I think it is.
Yeah.
In the
Okay.
It's that story, but it's recontextualized and retold. So everyone gets pre-generated characters. You start off in Joe Diamond's home. So Joe Diamond officially lives in Arkham. I was never sure if he did or he lived in Boston. Now we know. And it unfolds. So the plot beats are kind of the same. Ghouls invade the house. Then they go out and investigate into Arkham, trying to find out what the heck's going on. Why were we attacked by these ghouls? They uncover a conspiracy, which is the second part of the whole thing, and then finally it's off to the woods to try and stop this thing. So mechanics first. It's an interesting system. They called it the dice pool system, or DPS for short, and I'm like, come on. I use DPS when referring to Kingdom Death stuff because a DPS character in Kingdom Death is doing the same job as a DPS character in an MMO. You know, they're exactly the same role. This is no, but the system itself is really cool. So yeah, the dice pool system. So how it works is every character has say 6 dice to start with, 6d6s, and they'll put them on their character sheet. And when you're doing stuff, you'll spend those dice to do the thing. And then you'll roll them and look and check against your various skills. So, for example, Joe Diamond has a 4+ in ranged combat, so every 4+ is a success. So he's pretty good at ranged combat. But for knowledge, he's got a 6, so he needs a 6 on his dice. But players are kind of allowed to choose what they want to spend, like how much time their characters are devoting by spending X number of dice. So it's a very flexible system. I thought it was really cool, really fun. And there's a couple of other sweet little wrinkles, which is it's also your health points. So when you take a wound, you have to put that wound over a slot and you've got less dice to spend in a given round or scene. So as characters get wounded, they start being able to do less and they become less accurate. They have to spend more time concentrating on doing single things. And I actually think the system's really cool.
Yeah, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's simple. It's really easy. You know, pop a character sheet in front of someone and go, okay, you've got 6 dice. Whenever you do something, you choose how many dice you want to spend. You need to get better than the stat I'm telling you, and you can decide that how many dice once you know what stat you're using. So somebody who desperately needs to make a shot might choose all 6 dice to do that. It's even the same in the narrative scenes, which it's a little wonky at times, but effectively you have a narrative scene, and when people are doing stuff, they'll commit dice to it. And then effectively during that scene, they're now tied up doing these given things. And once they're out of dice, they can still chat with everyone, but their character can't help any further. That's cool, but ultimately once the characters all run out of and spend their dice, if they haven't progressed the plot, the scene just like kind of refreshes and resets, which obviously time has passed, but if you don't have a specific clock in the scenario, it doesn't really mean too much, if you get what I mean, you know?
Yeah.
Being in a situation where you're like, okay, you need to get out of here, you've got like 1 round to get out of here, so everyone's got like just those dice and they need to figure out how to get out of a room filling with gas, poison gas or something. That's really tense. That's got a lot of stakes. And on the other hand, if you're like at the start of this campaign all sitting in Joe Diamond's study looking at some handouts and things and trying to figure out what the heck's going on, it doesn't feel as urgent, and it's weird. You get to like everyone spent their dice and it's like, okay, well, you're still in Joe's study, new scene, awkward. In combat, you get a full set of dice per round, so that really works. You always know how much you can do, and the enemies are also, they're put face up, like in a row, the other side of the GM screen, and they have X number of dice, so people can easily look and go, okay, who's threatening, who's going to do lots of stuff, who's got actions left to go, etc., etc. So that all, combat, I think, works really well. Yeah. So, as I said, the mechanics there, really easy. A lot of the stuff as well, it's just if it's a simple action, don't worry about dice, you just do it. Walking, opening, pulling a gun out, all that kind of stuff, no need to roll for it. Which as a rule, if there's no stakes to an action, you shouldn't make the player roll. Even, you know, if they're like trying to hack something and you know, oh, maybe it's really difficult, just be like, if they fail, sometimes it can block the plot, you know. Like, if you've got something important for players to find out, never put it behind a roll.
If it's not time sensitive, if there's not going to be an interesting consequence, it's not. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I
sometimes tend to put these things behind a roll, but it's more like which player will win and find that thing.
Yep. Sometimes it's fun to the person rolling highest, rolling lowest. Call of Cthulhu is always a classic for that, where you have everyone roll luck. And they're never quite sure if it's the person with the highest luck or lowest luck, you know.
Or if it's a good or bad thing to
exactly.
succeed.
It's whichever role makes things more interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I'm going to walk briefly through the setup for the plot, and then I'm going to talk about a couple of things that like caused us some issues. I'm not going to spoil the beats of it, beyond I've already talked about the broad beats of the thing, but there are variations in all of this. So you've got Joe Diamond, Carolyn Fern, Daisy Walker, William Yorick, and Rita Young of the characters. That's a private eye, a librarian, a psychoanalyst, a gravedigger / actor, and a student. But that's Arkham files. You know, they're all weird all over from different kinds of things, and they all have their own different like handouts and bits and pieces of information at the start. And so that was really cool because I gave everyone their characters. They picked them. Some of them got starting handouts, and I just left them to it. And gradually they realised that they had information that if they put it together from different people resulted in leads, and there is stuff going on. There was a nice little like decrypting puzzle where they had to work out something that was written in a code, a substitution cipher, but they were missing loads of the letters, so they still had to figure out what put in the blanks, and even sometimes one letter would mean two different things, or two different letters could mean the same thing. So that was a big hit. The whole initial section, suddenly everyone's like, oh my goodness, we've all come here, there is something weird going on. And one person's like, this person in Arkham's doing something dodgy, and someone else goes, I know that person, and I know where they live. So that was really fun. And then the ghouls attack, and the house gets like locked up inside a magic barrier. And that's where the first issue occurred. I wish I'd paid more attention when I was pre-prepping and reading this, because the magic barrier can only be solved by beating a sliding block puzzle. Yeah. So, and it just even better. Combat's going on, and you get X number of moves for the dice you're spending. So you're sliding the block puzzle during combat, that's kind of cool. It's under a time pressure. It represents people trying to break it, but the people who are trying to do it didn't know how to do sliding block puzzles. And if you don't know how to do a sliding block puzzle, if you're like...
You can stay there for hours.
Yeah, you can stay there for hours, and if you can only move like one or two pieces at a time, it's also really hard to get any kind of flow. So eventually I had to help as well, and even I struggled with the sliding block puzzle. I ended up swapping a few pieces around to just be like, let's get this going forward. They had cleared all of the assailants out, and the ones that were left were trapped outside and couldn't get in because the barrier was between them. And I was like, this is not good. Like, So what happened then is they went off and they did a bit of investigating. It was all fun. There was role-playing, there was characters, there was some combat. They met a guy who they were still not sure if he was good or bad. Even after they shot and killed him, they didn't know if he was good or bad. That's how it happened. They're like, oh my god, is this guy was he actually one of the good guys? I thought he was being dodgy, but it looks like his notes he wasn't. That was fun. And then they go to a house of one particular person they're pretty sure is like heavily involved in this conspiracy. And they find, inside a safe, a puzzle. And I'm like, okay, cool, new puzzle. No, it asks you to flip over the previous block puzzle and put a new sliding block puzzle into play.
Oh, fuck.
And I was like, no. So I instead had them make rolls to put pieces onto the puzzle. Just so it meant like they just had to succeed 8 rolls during a combat to get the damn thing done. And Sam was like, oh no, but we could do it sliding block puzzle because I sat down last night and watched a load of videos on how to learn sliding block puzzles and I've got good at it. And I was like, no, after last time, I'm not interested. So that was quite a moment. And I was thinking very frustratingly that they had all the leads to have literally gone straight from one sliding block puzzle into another one. They could have just gone block puzzle to block puzzle. And I was like, can you imagine like one session took an extra hour because that puzzle took nearly an hour to deal with.
Yeah.
And then just having to do it again.
Walk into it again, yeah. So I looked around a bit and I found a couple of other people who GM'd this and they were kind of like, yeah, there's a couple of puzzles I didn't use. And I was like, which ones would those be? But anyway, the rest of it, which I'm not going to go into any further because I've just talked about early beats and I don't want to spoil this, the rest of it was really good. The system is really, really solid. It's light, it's fun, it's easy to pick up. It's great for like one-off sessions and it's got great stuff for like continuing campaigns. I'm excited to see where they go. I just think anytime they put a puzzle into the game, maybe they should think about, is this puzzle, can it be solved within 5 minutes of role-playing time, maybe 10?
Does it
By
make
someone
sense?
who...
I had two quick
Yep.
questions about this.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that your experience, well, were you player experience with the card game
Yep.
actually?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And would you say that that spoiled their fun, or is the story slightly different, so it's still interesting?
None of them have played the original three
Okay.
introductory because I'm the one who's introduced them all to Arkham, and I've avoided teaching those to them because the Masks of Midnight is a very good scenario. That's the second scenario of the three, but the
Yeah.
first scenario is boring once you've played it once or twice.
Yeah.
And the last scenario is frustrating because it's very very hard to like get a satisfying win. So no, they're familiar with Dunwich and Edge of the
Okay.
Earth and Masks.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
I'm asking because there's not that much variation
No.
in the card game compared to other scenarios of the card game.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if that translated to the TTRPG also.
Well, there's
And
a lot of varied paths they can choose which way to follow the leads.
Okay.
And the leads are greatly expanded. So whereas it might be go to this place, you meet this guy, he's dodgy, and then you beat him up. There's way more to that. Like, you got to go to this guy's house and break in, and they can decide what they want to do, or they can wait till he comes home and speak to him. There's a ton of different options. And so the main beats are the same. Yeah, it's a cult who dealing with summoning
Ghouls.
and sacrificing people to this one particular old thing, elder, I didn't say whatever, like God. The general unfolding of everything, it's different enough. There's no way playing the scenario beyond the fact that you'd be like, we're in the house that's going to get attacked by ghouls, and then we're going to go look at cultists, and then we're going to fight a big monster. There's nothing more than that, really. And I think even in the broadest kind of terms, that's sort of a standard 3-act structure. So, setup, investigation, payoff. On the whole, no, I think it holds up, even if you have played those 3 scenarios. I certainly didn't feel like when going through them that even if any of them had played those, they would have had much benefit.
All right.
About
That's very good to know.
About the the puzzle things. I hope one day I will be able to talk about Fabula Ultima, the role-playing game that my husband started a campaign at our local club recently, and I'm a PC in that. There is a part in the rulebook where they give lots of advice about how to handle objectives of that kind, and in parallel of the combat, they do use counters a lot. So they're like, yeah, if the idea is to solve the puzzle, each player using their action to solve the puzzle makes the counter go up 1, and total must be 8 to solve that thing. You can lose a little bit the interest of investing the players in that. I don't think that's alien to you, this concept, but yeah, you lose a little bit the immersion in the concept that yes, there is this puzzle and I want the players to solve it. But in Fabula Ultima, they put big emphasis on the counters, and that's, let's say, their I'm not going to say solve it all, but that's their solution in that kind of solution. The way they deal with that kind of situation. Try to find an exit while you are assaulted by monsters. Okay, spend 6 actions total and see what you find.
It's I think the best kind of puzzles for players to uncover in role-playing games tend to be conspiracies, and that kind of stuff, or perhaps crimes, because your role-playing is what's going to get you there. You're going to talk to characters and try and trap those characters into giving something away, or you're going to break in and search people's places for evidence, etc. That really works well. That part of it was all great. I will say on the physical front, which I just remembered, you reminded me, the items in the game are cards. So you hand someone a card and it might have like a number of uses on it. That's really neat and makes people very easy for people to track inventory. I really like that. There was a lot of happiness when somebody discovered a flamethrower. They were like, oh my goodness, look at this. Why is this flamethrower here? Why is this guy selling this flamethrower? And I'm taking it. And that was like it ate up a number of slots for them. So that's really cool. Like that system, love it. So that brings me on to my second game, which was the Aliens RPG. This has just had a Kickstarter for a second edition reprinting. I played first edition, and my group, they watched a playthrough of Chariot of the Gods already, because I recommended they watch that, because I and my partner watched this. My partner's going to be one of the player characters. I was like, I can't run Chariot of the Gods. That's like the introductory welcome to Alien. It's a classic in many ways. The big floating space Hulk, investigate what's gone wrong, why is this ship abandoned, kind of thing. If you do want to GM Alien and you're interested to see a playthrough of it, the Yogscast have Mystery Quest, and they did a playthrough of Chariot of the Gods, and it's brilliant. But don't watch it if you ever fancy being a player, because the scenario is really good. It's a shame I couldn't run that one.
To make sure it's Alien in the sense of
Yeah.
the ninth, sixth, fifth passenger.
The xenomorphs.
Yeah, xenomorph. Yeah.
Yep. It's set that universe. It's based on all of the movies. So you're talking about the engineers. You're talking about the contagion. Rather than just like the xenomorphs, there's a whole bunch of different threats within the whole thing.
Okay.
So, going to basics. I'm gonna just give me 1 second. Right. So I ran Destroyer of Worlds, which is a colonial marine based one, and so everybody. Alien's very good at this kind of cinematic experience where basically you sit down and you play like a scenario and you're given a character, like a pre-generated scenario, but there's a little bit more to it that makes it kind of, for me, I think, more immersive. So every character in the game, they have 4 stats, their attributes. They've got strength, agility, wits, and empathy. So, how strong you are, how agile and fast you are, how sort of quick-witted and smart you are, and how good you are at dealing with other people. And then based off those, they also have like separate skills. So for example, on strength, you've got close combat, heavy machinery, and stamina. And then on, say, agility, you've got range combat, mobility, and piloting. And each one of the stats, the attributes, will have up to 5 points in it. And then the skills can have up to 5 points as well. And these are all those directly relating to the dice you're rolling, and they're just d6s, and a 5 or a 6 is a success. So very easy to know, I want to move this crate. Okay, great. Give me a strength and heavy machinery roll, And somebody goes, okay, well, I've got 3 strength and 4 in heavy machinery, so I roll 7 dice. And you need at least 1 success most of the time. Extra successes can give you more benefits. And essentially, that's the character. They have like X amount of health that they can damage that you can take. They have stress. I didn't mention that in Arkham as well. There's as you get scared, you suffer mental trauma, and instead of losing dice, you get dice that when you roll a 1 on them, they do a bad thing. It's exactly like the stress dice in Alien, where you have these yellow dice you roll. On a 5 or a 6, brilliantly, you succeed. On a 1, which is a face hug on the dice, you freak out and you fail and something bad happens. Your character does something really out of control and wild. But the stress dice are extra dice. So if you got 3 strength and no heavy machinery, and you're desperately trying to pilot a forklift in a situation where you're already panicking, so you got 3 stress, you'd actually roll 8 dice, but 3 of them will screw you over if you roll a 1. So that's fun, that extra edge of adrenaline, but you're also more wired and prone to screwing up. Now, the really neat twist that they've done with these cinematic scenarios is you get a pre-generated character, and they have a little bit of backstory, so you can ease yourself into them. But also, you get given like a 3-act structure. You get given a hidden agenda card, and it tells you something like a secret about your character or something about their motivations. And if you play to that, then at the end of the act, when the cards are handed back, you'll get a story point, and story points can be used to kind of help you do more things, get out of a situation. So you get a reward for specifically playing a given character. But of course, this is the Alien universe, so there's always the question mark of, is one of our group going to betray everyone else? And that's quite possible, And they might not even realize it until the third act comes round, and suddenly they're like, there's a revelation of actually this, and this, and now you need to do this, Or just give an example like Burke in Aliens. He's the
Yeah.
company man. He's a bit slimy, but then he's not terrible until the moment where he tries to get Ripley and Newt impregnated with facehuggers, because his objective is to get these specimens back to Wayland Yutani.
Yeah.
So that's like an example of sudden betrayal. In
Yeah,
these,
you pressed that button at a moment and it did this thing, but as a consequence, blah blah blah, and then it's surprise for everyone.
Yeah. So it has that sudden like potential for a turn, and it's not necessarily that one of the players is going to turn out to be a betrayer. It might turn out that they have something that they really need to do, and it's a big problem to do it in the third act because of other things that are going on. But they're like, I need to do this. So it gives everyone a chance to, instead of just play a role-playing character, to actually instead embody a separate personality, to act and be someone. So that's really cool. On top of that, the aliens are really dangerous, as they should be. They're also ridiculously unpredictable. But they have their own little behavior table that you roll a dice on to see what they're doing, and it can range from you're dead, as in they grab you and jab you with their little face jaw, to they just knock you over and stand above you menacingly, or try and drag you off into a hive if there's one around, or to abduct you and cocoon you. So they feel really weird and unpredictable in the way that, like in the first Alien and Romulus, there's times where the alien, you're like, why is it not just killing them? It could just kill them right now. Why is it not doing that? And it's sort of, well, we don't really understand alien psychology. They're like part human, part something else, but they're really weird. This was a huge hit. It went down really, really well. Some people got to play genuinely unpleasant characters that everyone else hated, and then they got their comeuppance, and there was a big, whoo, screw that guy. And the person who's playing them was like, yeah, screw that guy. By the way, here's my new character. Which is kind of fun. And like we had one character just get wiped out by stress. Like that was it. He went catatonic. He didn't take injuries. He just completely freaked out when an alien turned up in an unexpected spot that no one was ready for, and he just got too stressed and collapsed, which was really fun. He was like the badass of the group as well. He was like really nasty and unpleasant, but he turned out to be, in that situation, just a complete little baby over it all. It's got a ton of books. You don't have to play Marines. You could play haulers like Chariot of the Gods. Everyone is part of a ship freighter crew, so they're not combatants. There's the third part of the series has everyone playing scientists and researchers. The engineers are still an active thing in this. There's a whole load of books for just going to places, and there's not aliens. There's other problems to deal with. I imagine, given the franchises linked together, if they get the license at some point, they'll probably do a Predator, what happens if a bunch of PCs are hunted by a Predator. It's a really solid system. It's light, it's easy to get with, it's got tons of tension. Every time you're rolling, you're like, oh my god, is this stress going to wreck me? And another thing that's really fun is the androids, like Bishop, like Ash. They aren't affected by stress at all. They can't push themselves, which would give you stress dice. They can't have them ever. And what's really fun is if somebody's like a secret android from the start, they can be rolling stress dice and just kind of pretending, which is really another really fun reveal. Is this oh my god, you've got so many stress dice, how are you not freaking out? And it turns out because they're not human at all. So I think it is fantastic. I can't talk much more into it without spoiling stuff, but it's got consistent campaign stuff. You can run a whole series. It's got masses of details on the alien world. Just reading the books is a delight. It is one of the best modern role-playing games I've played alongside Mothership.
I think from what I've played, let's say lately, quite a few games have added this element, a bit like the stress dice, of, let's say, some roll results that can give an impact on something, have add consequences, either positive or negative. I think of the vampire last game where you have first dice, but they take part of your dice, and so depending on the rolls, it might be the beast that's influencing you. On the FFG games, you with the proprietary, sorry, proprietary ones with the different symbols where you have different types of consequences, etc. I think that it is very good on this idea of adding roleplay consequences to roles and just not just have it be you succeed or you fail. I think that's very good, and it's really something that I hope more games continue to use.
Yeah, it's really fun. I'm a little unusual in that every role playing game I grew up with had those like consequences because like in Warhammer, you'd always have like cool was what it was called at the time.
Uh-huh.
And if you encounter something scary, you'd have to make like a cool test to deal with it.
Cthulhu?
Yep, like Call of Cthulhu it's based on. If something was caused fear, then if you failed your cool test, you'd kind of freeze in spot, and you'd miss like at least one round until you snapped out of it. If it was a terror test, you'd just leg it and run away. So it feels like games are refining that more, and I like I say like you get the option to take that extra point stress to re-roll a roll that's gone wrong, which is very fun, giving players that thing to think about. That should I do this? Do I really want to pass this check? Yeah, sure. Give me that stress dice. Let's try it again. Oh my god, I've already freaked out on the stress dice. It's cinematic as heck, and it is fun. And I don't think it takes player agency away from the players too much, because it's normally just temporary. And if you get some stress, it starts snowballing naturally. So it feels right. It doesn't feel unfair, And you also have like opportunities to sit back, to cool down, to chill out, to like take time off if the scenarios lead for it, so you can reduce your stress. Which I really like. I'm probably gonna talk about Mothership in the future as well, because we're currently playing a Mothership scenario. But
I absolutely love Mothership.
Yeah,
I believe that I talked to it. Yeah. I talked about it in the podcast, but I'm always happy to talk more about Mothership.
I'm not going to be talking about Mothership in general. I'm going to be, this setting. I'm going to be talking about In Other Waters in Mothership.
Oh, yes.
Yes. That's what I'm running right now.
I don't know what these are, but the way you speak about this right now, both of you, makes me very interested. So please wait for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a video game, In Other Waters, and it's...
Yeah,
not played.
I've not run the Another Water campaign yet. I'm very curious to hear how your experience is.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've had to put a lot of extra work in to get it set up right, but so far it has been a delight, because suddenly they're like, my god, we're role playing, exploring a planet and cataloguing life. There's not fighting. There's nobody else here, which is really cool. That it's just them for the role playing and exploration.
If we do a Mothership episode, I'll definitely be talking about Gradient Descent, I believe.
We could do
also...
do a special RPG episode, and I could bring Fabula Ultima.
Yeah, that would definitely work.
Yeah, I'll finally talk about either 7th Sea or Warhammer in detail. Probably Warhammer.
To quickly conclude with Alien, I've actually played it, did a couple of scenarios with it with a friend. I enjoyed the game, and I think that the way that the game is played is really, really nice. And maybe this was an issue with my GM, but I think that my issue with it was that there's not really a mystery about what kind of threat you're going to face, because it's right there on the cover of the book.
Yeah, that's definitely just the scenario you're dealing with. There's multiple different types of xenomorphs. They're not even called xenomorphs, but there's like different types of, let's call them contagion aliens. There's the engineers. There's literally like, hey, you're on a planet and the wildlife is really dangerous. That's it. So Alien is like the signature thing, and like nothing's bigger and bolder and brighter than like an alien queen for sure. But there's definitely more than that as enemies. They put a lot of work into expanding everything. There's a whole bunch of different galaxy nations, the way to describe them, and so you could just be a colonial marine involved in wars against them if you wanted to do a Vietnam style thing. So
Yeah, I can imagine. In my game, the maybe it was the on the GM's fault, but this was treated like a big reveal that it's an alien because that's how it is in the movies. You know, when you are revealed a monster and you see. But we all knew that it was coming, and we all had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen
yeah,
when we found a derelict ship that had been abandoned and where there were goops on the wall. It was a bit hard to properly get into character and be like, well, let's just look at those weird egg-shaped
okay,
thing on the
that's
ground.
Chariot of the Gods.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe
yeah,
so.
that's Chariot of the Gods.
Um,
I'm gonna well actually you in that those weren't xenomorphs, but yeah, it is like you've seen the puffballs in Alien. What's I forget the name? Not Alien, Prometheus. Yeah, if you've seen then
yes.
you kind of you know where that's going. I I can see that definitely being an issue. I think you kind of have to just roll with the punches, really. But yeah, it's the main reveal
I,
in that is that they're not normal
I
xenomorphs.
Yeah, I really think that when playing a game like this, you need to find some ways to play with your players' expectations. I
Okay.
I think that if one of the player themselves is infected when coming into the derelict ship, and the derelict ship is just some ship, but one of the player carries a xenomorph or something, that could be a lot more interesting and
So
stuff like that. But
one of the pre-generated
yeah.
scenarios has someone, one of the player characters impregnated with a chest burster, and they're not aware of it, and that gets revealed to
That's
them in an act card.
Yeah.
And put
I
yeah,
think that the act card stuff is really, really strong and probably where the game
yeah.
is at its best,
Well, if you want,
from what I've
if you
played.
want a little idea of how much they can change things, very mild spoilers for the third of the three pre-generated scenarios, Heart of Darkness. The foes in that are not aliens; they are human beings who've been infected by the virus and have been in orbit in accelerated time around a black hole for like effectively thousands of years of their experience. So they're hyper evolved and they're completely unlike anything. You know, they have been infected by the contagion and they are thoroughly nasty, but they are nasty on entirely different levels, like highly evolved, mutated, still recognizably humanoid in many ways. They represent
All
quite a
right.
different threat in that they're not about physically they're quite capable of being very dangerous physically, but they're also really psychically problematic for the players. That's so yeah. I think they're really working hard to try and ensure it's not just another bug hunt.
I can imagine. Speaking of another bug hunt, a great mothership scenario. Um, all right. Well, speaking of tabletop RPG, I guess it's my time to start talking about uh, Triangle Agency. So, Triangle Agency is a very recent tabletop RPG written by Caleb Zane, Hewitt, and Sean Ireland, and it has been published by Haunted Table Games. The game is kind of a satirical, and it feels like a mix between Control, the video game Control, and Paranoia, and it has a lot of inspiration from X Files, Severance, uh, lots of different and really fun some sort of sci-fi, corporate sci-fi stories. So, in the game, reality is kind of a shared canvas that is shaped by everyone's perceptions, and on this reality, there are anomalies that disrupt reality. If they were left to simply roam wild, they would soon unravel reality itself, and more people would realize that the ground that they stand in is far from being as solid as they believe, which in course would slowly destroy reality itself. So, the players are agents of the titular Triangle Agency, which is a for-profit corporation working for the government, which is tasked to intercept anomalies, capture them if possible, destroy them otherwise, and make sure to tie any loose ends. It's a little bit Men in Black
I was going
in
to ask.
that sense. Yeah. Because they have to make sure that all of the living witnesses believe in the official storyline. The game is satirical, so there is a level of levity to it. It's not supposed to be extremely serious compared to, for example, Paranoia. It's between I don't remember the names of the different Paranoia level, but it's like the in between between completely cartoonish and extremely straight. It's supposed to be a little bit tongue in cheek, a little bit funny. There's a little bit of cartoon logic to certain aspects of it because of the malleable aspect of of reality, and the whole game has a very anti-corporate, anti-capitalist vibe, because you are working for an agency that is for profit, but make sure that reality itself keeps existing, which those two things should probably not be compatible. So each player is bonded with an anomaly of their own that has been gathered by other agents at another time, and those anomalies, they've sort of made a deal with the devil kind of thing. They give them some power that they can abuse to deal with their current mission, but at the risk of generating chaos and unraveling reality itself. The power that they get are really straightforward. The player have to think outside of the box so they can properly use it in game. So, for example, one of the ability, I picked it at random, is called Say Again. The player can respond to a spoken sentence with the phrase Say Again, and then the player can decide what the target says instead. And if they succeed on their roll after that, the target believes that they meant the new sentence. So you can change someone's perception of what they said, of what they wanted, try to gaslight them in real time. It's a lot of them are quite interesting ways to slightly shape things around you, to change people's perception of the things around you, but never in a way that is directly just do some damage to another being. The way that the game really distinguishes itself is because the writing of the book really stands out. It is written in an in-universe corporate guide that dances on the edge of the fourth wall breaking, as the book itself might or might not be an anomaly. The book frequently hides sections of its text under sort of big warning labels, and it refers you to secret chapters that you can only consult when you've received approval explicitly while reading, hiding information and making it hard to read. The way that you read the book is very immersive, and it helps you kind of get into the gist of what you're supposed to do. Every page has labels and little informations, and there's some art in the book, but a lot of it is kind of very tame corporate art style with little pip figures and little icons that are somewhat non-threatening, which helps you again get into the sort of vibes of the book in general.
Well, it kind of makes me think of Paranoia, which is sort of very in universe when reading through the book as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's Paranoia is definitely one of the major inspiration of the game, I believe.
A Paranoia-inspired game that is able to run longer than Paranoia is a heck of a draw, because Paranoia always falls apart quickly by design.
Yeah, this is very well suited for longer campaigns, especially since the agency is capable of modifying reality itself. So when one of your character would die, sometimes they die, then they have to be replaced, but you can also invoke the power of the agency and just miraculously be still alive the next day, but incurring some debts and demerits towards your employer, which is never a good
You
idea.
know what you've unlocked? I cannot remember the name of the game, but there was an old role-playing game which involved a lot of time traveling, and players played agents from a time traveling agency, and they had the capability of, at the point you die, you could come from the future to save yourself. So that person would die instead of you, and you then carry on role playing, but under the knowledge that your fate is sealed, and eventually you have to go back and die to save yourself.
All right.
Which makes me think of somewhat similar reality warping with the Triangle Agency, and that has me interested and hooked in what you're talking about here.
I would definitely recommend, if you are interested, to at least read the book. I believe that there's a free version on HIO that contains some chapters and like a little introduction to it. The style of the book, at the very least, is very fun and interesting to read. So, as I mentioned, the game has an anti-capitalist message to it. The company that you are working for is kind of a corporate hellscape. You face death every day at work, and you have to fill out paperwork on top of it.
Man, corporations have been the bad guys since the 80s at least.
Oh yeah. They expect you to do unpaid overtime, and whenever you fulfill one of your mission, you earn a commendation, and if you did badly, you earn demerits, which are both used for character progression in their own way.
Is HR involved in this at all?
HR is involved.
Brilliant. They're the worst.
It is quite fun. The last thing that I want to mention to kind of introduce the game, because I do think that if you are interested, you should give it a proper read, is the dice system that is very different from any other game that I played. So whenever you need to do a roll, you'll be rolling 6d4 for every roll. And there are only two types of roll. Either you are calling for favor in the agency to alter reality, or you are trying to use your anomaly. The game assumes you add agents to be mostly hapless. If you are going to try something that might not work, it in fact will not work. If you are trying to sneak, it will fail. So you need to roll to have the agency alter reality in your favor. For example, the lights of the hallway that you're trying to sneak in will all turn off at the right time. Or the guardian that was looking at it will need to take a piss exactly at the right moment. That kind of stuff. So it's never your character succeeding on their own merits. It's always going to be reality itself fixes itself perfectly to adjust. So, for example, if you're falling out of a building, you might find a truck full of pillows traveling right under your landing spot. It makes for something that can be quite cartoony and fun. So it has kind of that light tone that I mentioned. You can also use it to use your the abilities of your anomaly, which I mentioned a bit earlier. So once you have your pool of 6 dice, you roll them, and if there's at least one tree that appears in your roll, then that's a success. If there's no trees, that's a failure. And for every dice that's not showing a tree, you add 1 chaos to the chaos pool, which is resource mechanic that the game master used to make things dramatically worse as reality deteriorates.
Oh my god, that's systems in 7th C, where characters get drama dice that they can expend to do various great things, but once they expend them, those drama dice are handed to the GM for the GM to use against them.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You also have QAs that allow your players to basically switch a die from a tree from any other number to a tree. And if your character is out of those QA, they are in burnout, which means that whenever they roll, there's one tree that is cancelled. this makes the game to be actually quite fun because the rolls that you'll make are all going to be very quick, very fast. The game's mechanics are not never really getting in the way because it's all about building this corporate paranoia universe. And obviously, there's a lot of secrets inside of the book. There's a lot of things that are revealed to the game master to slowly expand the universe because, well, you are playing in something that is a bit like SCP meets X-Files meets Severance meets Men in Black meets, I don't know, Control and another dozens of inspiration.
Delta Green.
Which you are... Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of... it's kind of Delta Green meets Paranoia in a lot of ways. And the game is just really, really fun. I would recommend anyone to at least have a look at the book. All right.
Yep. You got me. You both of you have got me looking at things on my local game store and thinking about it. This is dexterity games, role playing games. Ooh, yeah, especially weird Control, Delta Green, paranoia adjacent things.
Yeah, I think this might be quite up your alley.
Yeah, I reckon so.
But I believe that's all the time that we have for this episode because we have been a bit over the line, but we had to do a pretty long catch up.
Yeah, but we've been off the air for a while. It's to
exactly.
give you something big to chew on.
So that's all the time that we have for this episode. You can catch us up on Patreon at patreon.com/thelaststandee. So until next time, we've been The Last Standee. That's going to be a goodbye from Audrey.
Bye-bye.
From Fan.
In space, no one can hear you say...
What?
And for myself. But remember that the second D in Standee stands for... Hum, exactly. Perfect. Those should really... Emergency. There we go. Why not?
It is. Another episode where the gimmick of the final word is like, oh my god, what's it going to be? I forgot to do it in advance.